Hello and welcome to another edition of the Moving Iron Podcast. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for almost 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Axon was started almost 100 years ago out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. It's that same passion that drives them today. With a vision for a better experience for both farmer and dealer, they set out to create a better way to move more iron. When you partner with Axon, you get immediate access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. Axon carries all major brands and sizes of tires, wheels, and tracks. From custom colors and sizes to fully customized wheels, you can have the solution for virtually any problem today's farmer is trying to solve. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast number 223. This edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. For more information, go to axontire.com. Also, if you're looking for a great place to help your salespeople generate more sales, keep track of their customers, and do deals faster and easier, check out Arrow at heyarrow.com. This week, I've got Aaron Findle back here with me, and he's I guess you're like the unofficial official. Kind of like the final.
I work best in the unofficial official.
You do. You're kind of like when you're at the bar, you're like, this is the final. And then I'm going to go home. Right? That's kind of what you are. You're the guy that just, you know what? We'll just keep having it back because it's so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just one more.
What's one more, dude?
What's one more?
What's one more? Exactly.
Just casting pods, man.
That's right. And see what we catch, right? All right. Aaron and I have kind of been doing a quasi-unofficial series on what we think is going to happen in 22 with the way delivery boards are shaping up and what that might look like. So we thought we might expand that a little bit and talk a little bit more in depth on a few different platforms. So over the next 4 podcasts, we're going to kind of break that down as to what we see happening. You're getting what you pay for here. So the information that comes across here is just our opinion. Solely our opinion. We have no other way of knowing anything other than what we see happening and unfolding in the landscape. So that is my disclaimer for these podcasts. So,
however, if you would like to pay, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, if you want to send a check to, it'd be great.
I have Venmo. I have PayPal.
But anyway,
and I will take a check.
We will. But anyway, so we're going to start. First, we're going to talk about. And I think to me, this is probably the one piece of equipment that I think is going to stand out the most in 2022 as to what the ripple effects will look like across the marketplace more than anything. And I think that's planters, right?
It's the most important piece of machinery on the farm.
Right, it is. Now, I by no means think that there aren't going to be any planters that show up during planting season because that's just a complete farce. But I think there will be a percentage of planters that just don't flat make it in time. They might make it in time, but it's like we got 2 weeks left to finish our planting, so I'm not unhooking what I got now to hook up to a new planter and fight the bugs for another 2 weeks. I'm just going to finish out with what I got, and then I'm going to leave this planter here, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do with the next thing. I think there'll be another percentage of planters that just show up in June. You know what I mean? So what's that percentage to me look like? I think that's somewhere between 8 to 12% of the overall planters that get sold and are going to get delivered out to the customer's place. To me, there could be that range of machines that show up.
You're saying of planters sold.
Yeah, that are supposed to be delivered in the spring.
Over 80% are not going to show.
No.
So you're saying only 8 to 12 won't get here?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would quadruple that number.
Quadruple that? You think? So you're thinking somewhere between 36 and 24%?
I think we are in such a big crap show. No E this week.
That's nice. Yeah.
We're in such a gigantic supply problem.
Right.
Not just green and yellow, not just ag. It's the entire globe.
Right.
there are lots of dealers whose half of their planters are probably going to get there May or later.
Normal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In much of the world, your planter shows in May, it's a next year planter.
Right.
Much.
Right.
Much. So, that being the case, I think that you could fit 50s a little bit carried away, but I think you could be into the upper 30s of percentages of maybe even the 40s, 22 model planters that won't plant in 22.
That's a big number, man.
It's a big problem, Casey.
Yeah. I don't.
And like the disclosure, that's my personal feeling.
Right.
I also spend so much time answering calls, and yep, you sure can put your name on it, and you can have it in June. Yep, it's available. You don't have to pay for it now, but you can put your name on it now.
Right.
All day, every day. So that probably clouds me a little bit.
Right.
To the heavy side, but I was of the used equipment people in the world. I was probably the one with blinders on the most as far, or not blinders, but optimistic. Mm-hmm. I'm incredibly overly optimistic all the time. Till the switch goes off and then there's no optimism in my soul. Okay. Like, did you have a good week? No, the world is ending. But I think and it's that optimism. I was like, oh, they'll get it fixed. They'll bring, they'll ramp up production. We'll get through this. It'll be like a year. And people way smarter than me are like, a year to decide if it's 2 or 3 years, which is where we're at.
Right.
That awakened me is what I'm trying to say. That the worse the supply issue gets, the longer it lasts. That optimism of mine is gone. Well, now you hunker in and you just become part of the party.
Yeah. And I think to some extent I would agree with that a little bit. My drawback is I think if you look at the overall supply chain issues and what's there now, yes, there are supply chain issues. Yes, there's labor issues. All those things are taking hold. If
there are labor issues to get a damn coffee, man.
Well, I sure.
Let alone skilled people who know what they're doing.
Right. I think
no offense to baristas.
Yeah, the baristas, man. You gotta. What can I start for you? Yeah. They had
black Folgers. Sorry, Dave, we're out.
That puts a pretty big wrinkle in used equipment if that gets to that extreme, right? So the other part of that you got to
and that extreme isn't way over there on the map. If you look on the horizon,
oh, it's right there.
You can see the fence.
It's a town over.
Yeah,
on the
it's
map.
right there.
Yeah, it's just funny.
You can see their water tower and their elevator from
exactly.
here.
Yeah. So I think for me, let's just run with that for a minute. Okay, let's just say, for example, worst case scenario, Aaron Findle's right.
Woo!
There's 30% of the planters don't show up, right? In time. They show up, but not in time, right? Now, what does that mean for used equipment? Now, there's a lot of, from the guy that owns it perspective, you have two choices, right? I guess you have three choices. One, you can say, I just don't want it, right? You could say, all right, cool, I want to trade it back in, right? Or my neighbor wants it or whatever. Or I'm going to run that planter, right? That's my next year's planter, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and run it. Now, there's a lot of things that come into that whole scenario, like, okay, cool, so you can go run it one more year. Now you got a 2-year-old planter with 1 year's worth of acres on it. Really not that bad of a deal. It's a pretty good mix, especially in the situation that we're in. It's almost like you didn't even run it, right? The other guy could be like, well, if I know mine's going to be late now, why would I just trade it in, get my new 23 to show up? Because it should show up on time, right? If everything is like it's supposed to be, right? The 23 should show up on time. So now I'm going to take mine and I'm going to trade it in or whatever else. You now have this gap.
The new 22 on the 23 in time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So now you've kind of got this gap in time where you're going to sit back and start seeing, well, I'll just buy that one over there because it's as new to me as a 23 is going to be, right? So instead of me paying 23 price, I'm going to pay 22 price, and I'm gonna do that. What does that do? How does that start playing into buying decisions? Because realistically, I mean, if you say this plant over here is $225,000, and the 23 is going to be $235,000 or $240,000 or whatever the number is. If you're doing it for tax reasons, I mean, the account says you got to spend $100,000, so you go buy a new planter, fully depreciate that out in the first year, second year, however your depreciation schedule works, or make your $100,000 down payment or whatever it is that you're doing. 6 1/2 dozen another. It doesn't really matter to you one way or the other, right? You still have new under warranty. That's the other thing too, though, on a planter.
Settlement date
And warranties and everything else that start playing into that, right? So just because
okay, let's look at it this way.
Yeah.
Okay, from disaster world, your planter gets here. We'll even squeak it early, April 20th.
Okay.
East of here, south of here, they're done. Pockets north of here are done.
Right.
But in our little deep freeze that we live in, they're not.
Right.
April 20th, the only thing in the ground, if anything, is beet.
Sugar beet, yeah.
Right. Now, back to I or the hired man or whoever spent all of March, getting this thing ready to go because mine ain't coming. I am not going to unhook once it's hooked. I'm not.
Right.
So, great. Hate to do this to you, dealer. I'll be in June 10th. We'll get paperwork done. We'll settle up, blah, blah, blah. No warranty issue. Because next season, he's under warranty. Till June 1st. June 10th, whenever he comes in.
Yeah, I see what you're
so
saying.
you handle the warranty part.
Right.
By that. Problem is, the dealer, we don't like this, have to sit on it, and the clock's ticking.
Well, I think the bigger thing there is not so much that part of it is, all right, cool, I'll get my new planter in, and Aaron, you're going to buy my used one. Well, I'm not going to hook my used one right now for you, Aaron. So what are you doing?
Right. That is by far the bigger problem.
That's the biggest
It's not
issue.
what does the first guy do with his new planter that's sitting there.
Yeah.
Most likely, trade 1, 2, 3 are sold. But if he knows, they're like with planter timing issues we currently have, we know right now the new planter is going to be late April, early May. Just point blank. You can have it in June.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way it is. So trade 2, trade 3, trade 4, those guys all know that.
Right.
They're all going to have to run, or they've said, I don't want to wait, I'll find something else.
Right.
So you either, as a dealer, you either lost that guy, or everybody's waiting, and in June, hold on to your hat because you're going to be paperwork city. That's your options. One of those two things most likely has transpired.
So how many guys take that planter that they're not going to unhook from because they started with it?
Right.
You know what? I have another tractor sitting over here that'll pull the same planter again. So I'm not going to hook from the one that you have sold to your customer, but I am going to hook onto the one that you just dropped off. And I'm going to plant with 2 planters this year.
No.
Okay. Why?
Because as a dealer, as soon as you take that new one, that's my used one. That's not a discussion.
Okay.
Unless, if his is not sold, something could maybe be ironed out there. But from the sense of, oh, I'm going to run both of mine, you can't because yours is sold.
Right. No, I think that's a good point. So I think, okay, so now ripple effects. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what does this, I've cast the stone into the pond. I'm going to watch the ripples go across it, right? So now I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and I'm thinking about it from a perspective of just the natural movement of used equipment, what that looks like. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of really late model, no hour stuff sitting out there, right? Now, the one thing about a planter that I will say that is probably more captivating than anything else is that from that perspective, you put 4 farmers in the same room, and not one of them is running the same thing.
Exactly.
You know, there might be 50 or 60% of it's the same, but there's that other 50 or 60% is what differentiates their 2x2 or their in furrow or their this or
one
that.
guy is all factory. One guy is all precision.
Right.
One guy is all, I want that one and that one and that one and that one and 15 different brands,
Right.
but it's what he wants.
Right.
And then the other guy usually picks and chooses from them.
I want Groff this or yet. I mean,
Right.
You know, all that kind of stuff, right? All those things start to play into consideration. So now you've kind of got that to contend with a little bit too. When do you think we start seeing this mold start to form? Like, when do you start seeing these guys being like, cool, I'm going to get through planting season, and this is what I'm going to do June, July, August? When do you think that starts to come to fruition? When do we think, to me, I think it's January, February, because by then you will know what you're going to get and when.
You'll know your dates for sure.
Right. Whether you're looking at whatever brand you got.
Right.
By then, that day for sure, they'll know within now. Not to say that stuff can get pushed out from there because we've seen that happen all year. But I mean,
all year.
But that being said, by January, February, you're going to be, well, I already know no matter what happens, I'm going to get mine in time, or I no matter what happens, I'm going to get mine too late.
Right.
I think the jockeying for position on planters for the end user and starting having those conversations with their dealer are going to start in February for the 2023 planter. Not in your typical June, July, August timeframe.
I will throw a very important word into that.
What's that?
Should. They should start then.
I think they will there because
if you got a guy who has a new planter that's not even here, I doubt, unless he is a fleet operator,
right?
The biggest of the bigs, unless he is that and he's on a schedule every year, every so many years, blah, blah, blah. I could see that guy doing that. The average guy who bought a new planter or is flirting with multi-unit because of the bump in income, I don't see doing that.
I think that you will have to see that happen. And
I think as a dealer, you better get the ball rolling then.
But I think too many people have set on how many guys do you know that have been wanting to buy a tractor or a combine or whatever it is that have missed 3 or 4 different times because they were literally 30 seconds too late to get a hold of you?
Literally, yeah.
Or, you know what, I walk into the store, I talked to you yesterday morning, I want to buy this thing, came back tomorrow, I want to buy this combine. No, how many times do you think that's happened?
Or they call at 9 in the morning, and I'm going to talk to me and my brother are going to talk about this over lunch. I'll call you this afternoon. He calls at 4. It's sold, man.
Yeah. I mean, too many, that's so much stuff like that has happened.
Right.
That I think that not only will they obviously be talking to the dealer about this, but they're going to be talking to the neighbor that they know that has it.
Right.
You're getting a new plan this year? Great. What do you want for yours that you're running right now?
Which is a whole other ripple in there.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. So now there's just like...
We're living that world right now with tractors and combines.
Absolutely, yeah.
How many damn tractors have we sold? 0 trades. 0.
Yeah. Yep.
My God, man. Constant.
Well, yeah, I mean, just it's a crazy thing. So I think that dynamic that we're talking about right there is a different dynamic than I think we're going to have happen. I think most guys, in most cases right now, if you're a used buyer of farm equipment and you want to maintain being a used buyer of farm equipment, that those conversations are going to start January, February for what I'm buying for 23 season.
The used buyer.
Used buyer.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
The used guy, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Not the new guy. The new guy is going to be like, EOP's open, I'm ready to do whatever.
I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah.
But there are some of those new guys. I mean, you got to have... I need to know right now. That way, at 12:01 June 1st, your order's in.
Right. Yeah, true. And I think that that's just a whole nother can of worms there. That when you start thinking about that, because if you really want to lock something in for your 2023 season,
Well, didn't planner orders sell out in like 2 freaking days this year?
it was a couple.
It was
weeks.
like,
yeah,
it was.
Yeah, but it was
Something
pretty
was
quick.
like 2 days.
I think it was.
Sprayers?
I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty quick.
Something was literally like 2 days. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, yeah. But I think there's those kind of conversations are going to need to be had, especially when it comes to planting. Because again, I think of all the equipment that we have out there right now that has the biggest amount of, the thing about a planter too is, it's not like it's a tractor that's used 24/7, 365.
Right.
It's not like a combine that you use in the spring and in the fall. It's not like a sprayer that you do, preseason burn down and your fertilization throughout the year and then end of the year stuff that you're doing. All these different things that you have coming out. A planter is a 10, 20, 30-day window or whatever that is that you're using in a month.
Right.
Right? You're not like unless you have 2019 all over the game where guys are going to replant their crop in, to 70-day corn or something like that. I mean, it's one of those things where you have this brief amount of time and then you're hanging out, kicking it in the barn with the rest of the machinery. You've got to have those conversations are going to come a lot earlier this year because come hell or high water, they're going to get a planter and they're going to make sure they're locking in their needs because again they've been shut down so many times on. This is the 5th tractor I've tried to buy, and I'm literally like 2 hours too late.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is going to be one of those. I'm buying your planter in June, right? I want Aaron's planter in June, right? And because I know he's got his new one sitting over there. Great, I'm going to take it in June.
I hear you.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, it has to.
Yep.
It has to, or it's just going to continue on down the same path we're on, where nobody is getting anything that they actually need
Right.
/ want.
Right.
They're getting what's available.
Right. That's true.
That's no fun for us. That's no fun for them. That's no fun for anybody.
Right.
Except who got rid of the what's available.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, that's the world we're in. It's just, and you're right. There's guys that have had 5 chances, and they're moving as quick as they personally can.
Right.
They're probably like, let's think about it a week. We'll come in there. We'll go see them next Friday. They're probably shrinking that down to like 2 hours.
Right.
And it's still missing the boat.
Right.
It's a deal, man. It is a weird, like I told you, like I've said on here before, I have spent more time unselling things in 21 than selling things.
Yep. I think the other side of that too, the one outside thing too that I could see happening would be, all right, this customer's machine planter came in too late. He doesn't want it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, for us, whoever, Minnesota, they're not planting yet, and that customer actually wanted to get a new one, but he couldn't do it. So I'm going to jump down there and grab that one.
Right.
Takes a buyer out for the 23 season. New or used.
No.
Because he's going to have that, hypothetically, he'd have that planter in time to go plant the 22 crop.
But he said he don't want it.
The guy here.
Right.
But the guy in Minnesota does.
Oh, Minnesota took out a 23 customer, not here.
Right.
Okay,
This guy here
right.
got his planter, but it got here late.
Right.
The guy in Minnesota knows that, so he's going to call this guy.
The guy here is just going to buy a 23.
Right.
Which Minnesota was also planning on, but hey, we got a 22.
Right.
That's kind of, to me, that's kind of 6-1, half dozen the other.
Uh-huh.
Simply for the fact that you either got them this year or next year.
Right.
He's only going to buy it one of the 2 years,
Right,
so
that's
what's it matter?
Yep. No. Agreed. So
Bird in the hand.
or two in the bush. Hey.
Hey.
Right on. Well, I think that's probably a good place to stop right here. I feel like there's a lot of stuff kind of working on here, but I think we probably have a lot to pay attention to going in through the end of the year and going into the first year. I think there's going to be a lot of movement there that we're not anticipating.
Right. Plus, you got to keep this a little bit cliffhanger-y for the stay tuned next week as we continue the series.
As we continue the series, like sands through the hourglass.
These are the lack of availability.
All right, dude. Folks want to reach out to you and get more information about what you got going on. What's the best way to do that?
Call or text. Text preferred, usually. 308-760-1193. Or you can reach out to me on the Twitterverse, as a lot of folks do, at @AARonFintel.
Right on. And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Also go to MovingIronLLC.com for everything Moving Iron related. So with that, I am Casey Seymour with Aaron Fennell. Let's go move some iron, folks. Out. You want to have a meaningful competitive advantage to help sell more equipment. Whether you represent the sales, parts, or management department of an implement dealership, there's a surprising amount of complexity when it comes to tire, wheel, and track technology. Let Axon worry about that so you can get back to supporting your customers. Axon has leveraged years of experience to create a streamlined process that gives you a proven path to help today's grower and sell more equipment. The roots of their organization go back almost 100 years to the invention of the rubber tractor tire. Supporting agriculture is the number one driver of Axon, from product development through sales and service. To find more or become an Axon dealer, head over to axontire.com.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard.